Talk about the running game, your running game, and the significance that it had on this particular game.
Yeah, I mean, we've been pretty good, rushing the football the entire year. We've got a pretty experienced offensive line and some good tight ends and a good fullback and 2 or 3 tailbacks that we can roll through. So it's been something that's been very consistent for us ever since Lafayette, and it's something that we really tried to hang our hat on. So, it came up big today. I thought our backs ran hard, and I thought our perimeter people blocked well, and I thought our offensive line and tight end and fullbacks did a real nice job and gave us some balance in terms of the run and the pass.
You think, too, that the time of possession, being that their offense was moving the ball, the time of possession they didn't have the ball, was something big in your favor?
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's always becomes a factor. Sometimes that's a little bit misleading, especially if the other guys are throwing the ball up the field and completing them. But I thought eventually we could try to wear them down. Again, we're fortunate that we can kind of roll in some different backs, and we can have some different personnel groupings that come in there. And we're fortunate we got 2 quarterbacks that can run the ball as well. That gives you a little bit different dynamic. But I thought it was a huge component of our success, and moving forward, I think it's something that hopefully we're going to be able to carry over from week to week. We knew that's got to be a staple, but we also knew that we'd have to get better throwing the ball than what we have been, and I thought we made some strides, especially in the first half throwing the ball. And then, we had a couple, mistakes in the second half, but, overall, I thought we played certainly very good on offense, and certainly got tested on defense and came up big in overtime, but, I think every once in a while you got to win games like this. It's not always going to be a 10-7 game. So, I give credit for Penn offense, bailing out the Penn defense, and the team Penn winning. That's all that matters.
Al, what troubled you most about the defensive performance today?
Well, we gave up more big plays than we have. I mean, it's not like they ran the ball great. They have good backs and they have good schemes and everything else, but we gave up more balls deep, and we gave up more 3rd and 4th and longs than I can remember. We were really winning 1st and 2nd down, and it got a little crazy there at the end. I mean, it was 4th and 12, it was 3rd and 11, it was 3rd and 9, and we really gave up some vertical throws that we historically have not given up, and that's, credit to them. You get through good balls, receivers made good catches, ran good patterns, they protected it, but it's a little bit uncharacteristic of our kids to do that, and obviously something that we're going to have to correct.
It seemed that there was a lack of pressure. He seemed to have a lot of time to throw for a good part of the game.
Yeah, I mean, they've done a good job early on in the game getting rid of the ball quick, so we kind of went to a defend mechanism later and tried to do it with a 3- and 4-man rush, and we probably were a little bit off balance more than we historically have been. But again, it was a credit to what they were doing, and they did a nice job, and as I'm going to tell my kids tomorrow, when you're the champion, this is how people are going to play. They're going to fake field goals, and they're going to go for it on 4th and short when the ball's on their 30-yard line, and they're going to take some chances, and that's all part of playing against the champion. So you got to be able to withstand all that. You got to be able to hang in there, and today we're able to do that.
Zach, what did you see them doing on offense that allowed them to move the ball against the Penn defense?
Well, they just kind of they did have us a little bit off balance in the beginning of the game, and they were just kind of I feel like we were doing a good job on 1st and 2nd down as well, and then I think it all really comes down to 3rd down where we just didn't do what we've been coached to do a lot of times, and just didn't do what we usually do, and we gave up a couple 3rd and longs, and that just kind of keeps drives going, which. Again, historically, we haven't really, that hasn't happened. So I think most of the 3rd down conversions was the problem.
How about coming into the overtime after you got that first touchdown? You scored the first touchdown. What was the feeling in the defense then coming out?
Yeah, usually for us, I mean, we pride ourselves on kind of being, try to be the best defense on the field at all times. And once they scored, I mean, we told the guys, everyone, that there's, we're not going to they're not scoring a point. And we kind of had that mentality. We've had that mentality, all through camp and, in all the games we have. And, once we were out there, we knew, at least for us, that they weren't going to score.
Who batted the ball at the line on the last play?
I don't know.
Yeah, I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
It was one of the down kids. It was one of the 5 techniques, but I honestly couldn't see it.
Were you running anything special there?
No. No. It was a 3-man rush. We might have been running, I think, a twist to that side, but that was about it.
Feel like the 2 touchdowns, were both passing plays or not?
Yes.
You just talk a little bit about what happened, or either or both, just, what you saw.
Well, on the first one, they brought some pressure off the edge, so I had to get out of the pocket, and getting out of the pocket is to see green, and you got to go. And I was able to make one guy miss and get in, and then the second one was they had everyone covered up, and it was just making a play.
Billy, can you talk about how important it was that you got those touchdowns in the first possession of each half?
Yeah, I think that was good for us. We wanted to come out and try to dominate them on offense. We wanted to run the ball, and we did that. And early on, throwing the ball, kind of keeping them off balance, and we were able to move the ball, convert on second and third downs, and just keep drives going. And we were able to punch the ball in for 6 points this week, and that was something that we've been harping on all week is getting touchdowns and not settling for field goals, and we were able to do that today.
Billy, the fact that Coach stuck with you, he's been subbing Becker in sometimes. The fact that he stuck with you even after the interceptions, was that a big confidence booster?
Yeah, that was definitely a confidence booster. All the guys on the sideline were behind me, rallying behind me. Defense kept us in the game, like they always do with those mistakes that I made, and I just got to keep learning from those mistakes and try to limit them as best I can, and then move on from that.
For either of you guys, I'm sure the coaches have told you really how hard it is to repeat as IB champions, but is that the type of thing where you don't really understand it until after a game like this, when a team that maybe was supposed to be at the bottom is giving you such a good shot?
Yeah, I would say, like they've told us, since the beginning of the season that you're going to get everyone's best shot, and it just comes down to a couple plays, and we got to be ready for kind of a dogfight like this every IB game, because last year we didn't have, there were dogfights too, so.
Yeah, I think that they came out. They're 2-0. Coach has been saying they're 2-0 for the first time in 6-7 years, and they were high coming in, and this was kind of like their Super Bowl playing against us. We're the defending champs, and we came out, took some punches, and we were able to come out on top.
Coach, they're your new best friends now.
Who's that?
Dartmouth. You're rooting for them for the rest of the season.
Oh, absolutely. I thought they're much improved, and I think, they kind of thought they were going to be much improved. So you see the maturation of some of their kids, and they've done a nice job schematically with everything, and, I think they're going to cause people some headaches. I don't think there's any question. So, certainly after we play them, we want to wish them nothing but the best. Go out there and go beat Brown, and go beat Yale, and go beat Harvard, and go beat everybody else. What's wrong with us?
Now, with that win, you tied the record 4 wins as a coach. Is that much significance? Does that have significance for you?
I really haven't had a chance to think about it, to be honest with you. Those overtime games beat the hell out of you. I really do. So I'm just trying to catch my equilibrium here. I'm getting too old for this, so this overtime stuff's got to end, but I give our kids credit. So, at some point it'll have some significance. It really doesn't now. It's hard to enjoy anything when you're in season. You kind of enjoy the victory as a coach for a couple hours. I go have dinner with my wife and enjoy it, and then tonight I'll lay there with worrying about all the mistakes we made and how the hell we got to correct them. So you don't really enjoy anything till after the season.
Coach, I know Dartmouth's improved, but
Yep.
when you were up 28-14 with the ball, did you, maybe past Dartmouth teams might have rolled over, did you see them coming at you, and maybe sending it to overtime, or did you?
Well, I didn't see overtime coming, but, again, they're going to continue the battle. We're going to have to continue the battle. And, again, I'm not saying this was the absolute best we can play, but, I like to give them credit. They came in there and their kids fought, and they were spirited the whole day, but that's to be expected when you're here. When you're down 28-14, you really have nothing to lose. You're on the road against the champion, so you let everything hang out, and you take some chances, and you know, they did a really good job. So I'm giving them credit as much as anything else.
Were you expecting that fake field goal?
No, I mean, again, you know, expected, not expected. You know, obviously, they're going to take chances. You know, so whether it's a fake field goal or you're going to go for it on 4th and 1 when the ball's on your 30, and if you don't get it, you know, pretty much the game's over. You know, but that's what people probably are looking at to say this is what we're going to have to do. You know, to try to win the game. It's kind of one of those backhanded compliments, but you know, that's what we're going to be facing. So you can't be afraid of it. You can't shy away from it. You know, you can't cower from it. You got to hang in there, and you know, nothing's ever easy. Not in this league.
Well, Zach, even when they were down 28-14, did you sense that they were, you know, and had a new mentality that they were going to keep coming at you, whereas previous years they might not have done that?
I mean, not really. I mean, they were coming at us, and we just go out there and try to do every play, you know, the same way, and you kind of, you know, it's what we say is a lot about us, not really about them. So we're just kind of trying to focus on what we need to do, and you know, they've played us tough ever since I've been here, so I didn't really, you know, suspect them to, you know, roll over, you know, give up at all.
We had a good game with them last year.
Yeah,
at their place.
They've always played us
Yeah,
tough.
so it's.
Anything else, guys? Thank you.
All right.